In the haunting post-apocalyptic world of The Last of Us, a mutated fungus ravages humanity, leaving civilization in ruins. While this scenario may seem like pure science fiction, the threat of a devastating global pandemic is all too real. Recently, the CDC has issued a stark warning about Disease X, an as-yet unknown pathogen with the potential to wreak havoc on a scale that could potentially wipe out the human race. As we've learned from our experience with COVID-19, our world is more interconnected than ever before, allowing diseases to spread rapidly across borders and continents with frightening speed. The coronavirus pandemic's global impact has shown us how vulnerable we are to new infectious threats and how quickly a microscopic invader can upend our lives. This video will descend deep into the looming specter of Disease X, exploring how global health authorities are preparing for the next pandemic that could fundamentally alter life as we know it, and examining the potential consequences if we fail to heed the warnings and adequately prepare for this invisible yet potentially catastrophic threat. The concept of Disease X. The term Disease X may sound like something straight out of a science fiction novel or a doomsday thriller, but it's a very real concept used by health organizations to plan for future pandemics. Coined by the World Health Organization, WHO, in 2018, Disease X represents the sobering knowledge that a serious international epidemic could be caused by a pathogen currently unknown to cause human disease. It's a placeholder name for a hypothetical unknown pathogen that could cause a future epidemic or pandemic, serving as a catch-all category for the threats we can't yet anticipate, but must nonetheless prepare for. The WHO includes Disease X on its list of priority diseases, alongside known threats like Ebola, Zika, and COVID-19. This inclusion serves an important purpose. It pushes researchers, health systems, and governments to think proactively about how to prepare for an entirely new threat. Rather than only focusing on known pathogens, the concept of Disease X encourages flexible preparation strategies that could be adapted for a wide range of potential outbreaks. It's a recognition that the next big threat to global health might come from somewhere unexpected, and that our preparedness plans need to be agile enough to respond to the unknown. Disease X could take many forms. It might be a novel virus that jumps from animals to humans like SARS-CoV-2 did, or it could be a mutated version of an existing human pathogen that becomes more transmissible or deadly. It could even be a bacteria that develops resistance to all known antibiotics. The key is that Disease X represents our lack of knowledge about what specific threat might emerge, paired with the certainty that new infectious disease threats will continue to arise in our rapidly changing world. The concept of Disease X also serves as a rallying cry for increased funding and attention to global health security. By highlighting the potential for unknown threats, it underscores the need for robust health systems, cutting-edge research, and international cooperation. In a world where a new pathogen can travel from a remote village to a major city in a matter of hours, preparation for Disease X is not just prudent, it's essential for our collective survival. Characteristics of a potential Disease X. While we can't predict exactly what pathogen might cause the next pandemic, infectious disease experts have some ideas about what characteristics make a disease more likely to spread globally and cause significant harm. Understanding these traits can help guide our preparedness efforts and inform early warning systems. First and foremost, Disease X would likely be highly transmissible from person to person. Respiratory spread through coughing, sneezing, or even just breathing would allow rapid transmission in our interconnected world. COVID-19 demonstrated how quickly a respiratory virus can circle the globe, reaching nearly every country in a matter of months. A disease that spreads even more easily than COVID-19 could be truly devastating. The pathogen would also likely have a relatively long incubation period and the ability to spread asymptomatically. This allows infected individuals to travel and interact with others before realizing they're sick, seeding new outbreaks in distant locations. This was one of the factors that made COVID-19 so difficult to contain in its early stages. A disease with an even longer incubation period or more asymptomatic spread could be nearly impossible to track and contain using traditional public health measures. High virulence, the ability to cause severe disease, is another concerning trait. If disease X had both high transmissibility and high virulence, it could overwhelm health systems and cause widespread mortality. Imagine a disease as contagious as measles but as deadly as Ebola. Such a combination could have catastrophic consequences for global health. The lack of pre-existing immunity in the human population is also key. A completely novel pathogen, or one that has mutated significantly from known strains, would encounter no natural protection in the people it infects. This means that everyone would be susceptible, leading to rapid spread and potentially high mortality rates until treatments or vaccines could be developed. The lack of effective treatments or vaccines would hamper our ability to control the spread. In the early stages of a disease X outbreak, we would likely be starting from scratch in developing medical countermeasures. This was the case with COVID-19, but imagine a scenario where developing effective treatments proves even more challenging. Another important characteristic to consider is the stability of the pathogen in the environment. A virus or bacteria that can survive for long periods on surfaces or in the air would be much harder to contain than one that quickly dies outside a host. This could lead to more transmission through fomites, contaminated objects, and make decontamination efforts more challenging. The ability to infect multiple species could also make disease X more dangerous. If the pathogen can circulate in animal populations, it creates reservoirs that can repeatedly spark new outbreaks in humans. This is a concern with influenza viruses, which can infect birds, pigs, and other animals in addition to humans. While not all of these traits are necessary for a pandemic, the more that are present, the greater the potential threat. Health authorities keep a watchful eye on emerging pathogens that display these concerning characteristics, hoping to catch the next disease X before it has a chance to spread widely. Potential sources of disease X. When considering where disease X might come from, zoonotic diseases, those that jump from animals to humans, are high on the list. The majority of emerging infectious diseases originate in animals before adapting to spread between humans. This makes the animal-human interface a critical area for monitoring and research. Bats are a key reservoir species to watch. They harbor a huge diversity of viruses, including many coronaviruses. The viruses that cause SARS, MERS, and COVID-19 are all believed to have originated in bats before potentially passing through an intermediate animal host to humans. Bats' unique physiology, which allows them to host viruses without becoming ill, makes them perfect incubators for pathogens that could potentially adapt to human hosts. Other mammals, like rodents, primates, and livestock, can also be sources of new human pathogens. As human populations expand into previously undeveloped areas, contact with animal species increases, raising the risk of zoonotic spillover events. Deforestation, urbanization, and changes in agricultural practices all contribute to this increased human-animal contact. Climate change is another factor that could contribute to the emergence of disease X. As temperatures warm, disease-carrying insects like mosquitoes are expanding their ranges. This could introduce vector-borne diseases to new areas with populations lacking immunity. Diseases once confined to tropical regions could become threats in temperate zones. Additionally, melting permafrost could potentially release ancient microbes preserved in the ice, exposing modern humans to pathogens we have no experience with or defense against. We also can't discount the possibility of disease X emerging from a known human pathogen. Viruses and bacteria are constantly evolving. A mutation that makes an existing disease more transmissible, more virulent, or able to evade current treatments could create a new pandemic threat. Antibiotic resistance is a particular concern in this regard. A superbug that's impervious to all known antibiotics could be as devastating as a novel virus. The increasing use of genetic technologies in research also opens up new possibilities. While these technologies have immense potential for good, they also carry risks. A modified pathogen escaping from a lab, whether by accident or intentionally, could potentially cause a pandemic. While most experts believe a natural origin is more probable for disease X, the possibility of human-made threats can't be entirely ruled out. Another potential source of disease X is the vast reservoir of unknown viruses in the world. It's estimated that we've only identified a tiny fraction of the viruses that exist. Any one of these unknown viruses could potentially make the jump to humans under the right circumstances. The interconnectedness of our modern world also plays a role in the potential emergence of Disease X. International travel and trade can quickly spread a new pathogen around the globe before we even realize it's a threat. A disease that might have remained a localized outbreak in the past could now become a global pandemic in a matter of weeks. Understanding these potential sources of Disease X is crucial for developing effective monitoring and early warning systems. By keeping a close eye on high-risk areas and situations, we increase our chances of identifying and containing a new threat before it becomes a global crisis. Preparing for the unknown. How do we prepare for a threat we can't fully predict or characterize? This is the central challenge of planning for Disease X. However, the COVID-19 pandemic has provided valuable lessons and spurred new approaches to pandemic preparedness. The global response to COVID-19, while far from perfect, has given us a roadmap for how to improve our readiness for future threats. One key area of focus is improving global surveillance systems to detect new pathogens quickly. This includes monitoring for unusual disease outbreaks in humans and animals, as well as sampling environments like caves, wetlands, and wildlife markets, where zoonotic spillover events are more likely. Advanced genetic sequencing techniques allow rapid identification and characterization of novel pathogens. The goal is to create a global early warning system that can spot potential pandemic threats before they have a chance to spread widely. Strengthening healthcare systems worldwide is another crucial step. As we saw with COVID-19, a pandemic can quickly overwhelm hospitals and clinics, leading to increased mortality, not just from the pandemic disease itself, but from other conditions that can't be adequately treated in an overburdened system. Increasing surge capacity, stockpiling essential supplies, and training healthcare workers to deal with novel threats are all important preparedness measures. This also includes improving healthcare infrastructure in low- and middle-income countries, as a disease that takes hold in an area with poor healthcare can quickly become a global threat. Perhaps most promising are advances in vaccine technology. The mRNA vaccines developed for COVID-19 demonstrated how quickly new vaccines can be created when the genetic sequence of a pathogen is known. Researchers are now working on universal vaccine platforms that could be quickly adapted to target a wide range of potential threats. The idea is to have vaccine templates ready to go, which could be rapidly modified to target a new pathogen once its genetic sequence is known. Similarly, developing broad-spectrum antiviral drugs could provide a head start in treating Disease X. Rather than targeting a specific virus, these drugs aim to interfere with processes common to many viral infections. Having such treatments available could buy crucial time in the early stages of an outbreak, while more specific countermeasures are developed. International cooperation is also key to Disease X preparedness. The WHO and other global health bodies are working to improve information sharing and coordinate response efforts across countries. Initiatives like the WHO's R&D Blueprint aim to fast-track the development of tests, treatments, and vaccines for priority diseases, including Disease X. The COVID-19 pandemic highlighted both the importance of international cooperation and the challenges in achieving it. Improving these systems of collaboration is crucial for facing future threats. Strengthening global supply chains for medical equipment and supplies is another important aspect of preparedness. The shortages of personal protective equipment and other crucial supplies during the early stages of the COVID-19 pandemic highlighted the need for more robust and flexible supply chains that can quickly ramp up production in times of crisis. Education and communication strategies are also vital. Combating misinformation and ensuring public trust in health authorities will be crucial in responding effectively to Disease X. This includes developing clear communication strategies and building partnerships with community leaders and organizations. Finally, there's a growing recognition of the need for a One Health approach that recognizes the interconnectedness of human, animal, and environmental health. This holistic approach to health security aims to prevent outbreaks by addressing root causes, such as environmental degradation and unsafe animal husbandry practices. While we can't predict exactly what Disease X will be, these preparedness efforts aim to create a flexible, robust system capable of responding quickly to whatever threat emerges. The goal is to prevent a future disease X from having the devastating global impact we've seen with past pandemics. By learning from our experiences with COVID-19 and other outbreaks, we can build a safer, more resilient world, better equipped to face future health challenges. Now it's time to hear from you. What do you think is the most important step we can take to prepare for disease X? Do you believe we're doing enough to prevent the next pandemic, or should more resources be allocated to this challenge? Share your thoughts and concerns in the comments below.